Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode here at Native English Flow, the place where you learn English while learning how to build a stronger, more focused life. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Today, we are going to talk about something very important: how to create your own opportunities. In life, many people wait. They wait for a chance. They wait for the right time. They wait for someone to notice them, to help them, to open a door. But what if the door never opens? What if the call never comes? What if no one sees your value unless you show it yourself? This is the truth many people do not want to face. No one is coming to save you. No one is responsible for your future. You must take the lead. You must take control. You must create your own opportunities. Creating your own opportunity does not mean waiting. It means starting. It means moving. It means building. Even when the world says no. Even when people ignore you. Even when things feel hard. It means making something out of nothing. Taking a small idea and growing it. Taking a skill and turning it into value. Taking your time, your energy, and using it to build the life you want. So many people stay in the same place because they are waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for approval. Waiting to feel ready. But waiting is not a strategy. Time will pass whether you move or not. So you might as well move. You might as well build. You might as well try. Because even if you fail, you are learning. You are gaining experience. You are becoming stronger. And that is something waiting will never give you. Opportunities do not always look like big moments. Sometimes they are small. Sometimes they begin with one email, one conversation, one small decision to try something new, one moment of courage. That is how it starts. You speak. You reach out. You offer your value. You show up. And slowly, things begin to change. Sometimes people think opportunity is something you find. Like a lucky coin on the street. Like a secret door someone shows you. But opportunity is not something you wait for. It is something you build. You build it with your choices. With your time. With your words. With your work. You create it when you show up and give your best, even when no one is watching. You create it when you do the extra work, when you take the first step, when you believe in something before it exists. This is the truth that many people miss. You do not need permission to begin. You do not need someone to give you a chance. You can give that chance to yourself. Opportunities are everywhere, but most people miss them because they are waiting for something big and perfect. But real opportunities often look like work. Like small steps. Like ideas that no one else believes in. You might start alone. You might start small. But if you keep going, the small becomes big. The quiet becomes strong. The thing no one believed in becomes something real. And people start to notice. But it only happens if you begin. Sometimes you will hear no. People will turn you away. They will not reply. They will say it's not possible. This is normal. This is part of the process. Every person who created something had to face rejection. Every person who built a life they are proud of had to keep going after hearing no. Do not let one no stop you. Do not let 10 no's stop you. Every no brings you closer to your yes. Every closed door teaches you something. And sometimes, you must stop knocking and start building your own door. When you create your own opportunities, you stop waiting for someone to choose you. You choose yourself. You decide that your dream is worth the effort. You stop asking for approval. You stop hoping someone will see your value. Instead, you start showing your value. You speak your ideas. You build your projects. You learn the skills. You take action every day. This is how you move forward. This is how you build something real. It may be slow. It may feel hard. But you are in control now. You are no longer sitting still. You are moving with purpose. Most people do not fail because they are not smart enough. They fail because they stop too soon. They give up when it gets difficult. They give up when no one is watching. They stop after one rejection. But if you want to build your own opportunity, you must keep going. Even when it's slow. Even when you feel alone. Even when it seems like no one cares. Because if you keep showing up, something will change. You will get better. You will get stronger. Someone will notice. A door will open. But only if you stay in the game. Quitting makes sure nothing happens. Continuing keeps the door open. The world is full of people with ideas. But not everyone takes action. That is where the opportunity lives, in action. When you move, you learn. When you try, you grow. Even your mistakes will teach you something. Even your failure will make you better. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who stand up again and again. Every time you stand up, you are building something no one can take away, your belief in yourself. That belief is stronger than any opportunity someone can give you. Because once you have that belief, you don't wait anymore. You don't chase. You create. You build. You lead. Sometimes we think opportunities are for other people. For people with connections. For people with money. For people who were born in the right place or started at the right time. But opportunity is not about luck. It is about action. And action is something anyone can take. You do not need to be rich to start learning. You do not need to be famous to start creating. You do not need a big name to start building something small. What you need is the belief that what you do today can lead to something better tomorrow. That belief is your starting point. If you carry that belief with you, and you combine it with consistent action, you can build your own opportunity from wherever you are, with whatever you have right now. Start with what you know. Start with what you love. Start with what you can do. You do not need to know everything. You do not need to be the best. You only need to be willing. Willing to try. Willing to fail. Willing to learn. Willing to do the work. Because opportunities are created by the people who are willing to do what others avoid. Many people talk about success. But only a few take steps every day. Only a few are brave enough to try when no one claps. Only a few are patient enough to keep going when no one says thank you. Those are the people who build something real. Not because they had everything, but because they gave everything they had. When you choose to create your own opportunity, you stop blaming the world. You stop blaming your past. You stop blaming people for not giving you a chance. Instead, you take responsibility. You say, maybe I didn't start with much, but I'm going to build something with what I've got. You say, maybe no one is opening the door for me, but I'm going to build my own. This mindset gives you power. It gives you energy. It gives you control. You don't feel stuck anymore. You feel in motion. You feel like the author of your story, not just a character in someone else's. If you look closely, every person who has created something powerful began with almost nothing. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for someone to give them a chance. They started with one idea, one step, one action, and they kept going. They made mistakes, yes. They were rejected, yes. But they also learned. They also changed. They also created something real. That is what you can do too. You do not need a big stage to begin. You do not need a title, or an award, or a perfect plan. You need a reason. You need commitment. You need to keep showing up. That is how opportunity grows. Not overnight. Not all at once. But slowly. Through repetition. Through patience. Through action. You may not see results right away. You may work hard for days, weeks, months, and still feel like nothing is changing. That is when most people give up. They say, it's not working. They say, maybe this is not for me. But what they do not see is that something is always happening in the background. Every effort is adding up. Every skill is becoming stronger. Every small act is building a path forward. The results may not be visible yet, but they are growing. And the people who stay long enough, the people who don't stop when it's slow, are the ones who finally break through. It's not about being the best. It's about staying in the game long enough to let your work grow. Creating your own opportunity also means learning how to solve problems. When something is missing, don't just complain. Build a solution. If there is no job you like, create one. If no one is offering what you need, become the person who offers it. This is how you become valuable, not just by waiting for value, but by giving it. When you give value, people notice. When you solve problems, people remember. When you show up and serve, opportunity follows. Not right away, but eventually. The world always makes space for people who create, who build, who lead. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel small in the beginning. Everyone does. You may not have all the answers. You may not know where the road will lead. But if you take the first step, you will begin to find your way. The path becomes clearer as you move. And each step gives you new information, new strength, new confidence. Confidence does not come before the work. It comes after. You build it by trying. You build it by learning. You build it by failing and standing up again. And with each step, your fear becomes smaller. Not because fear disappears, but because your belief becomes stronger. You begin to believe that maybe you can do this. Maybe you have something to offer. Maybe this idea, this dream, this work, can become something real. Creating your own opportunities also means seeing what others don't see. Most people walk through life with their eyes down. They do what they are told. They stay in their comfort zone. But people who create opportunities are always looking, always thinking, always asking questions. What is missing here? What could be better? What does the world need that I can give? These questions help you discover where you can create value, where you can build something new, where you can bring your unique voice into the world. You don't need to copy what others are doing. You can lead your own way. And often, the opportunity is right where you are. In your daily life. In your current job. In your own community. You just have to look, listen, and act. When you start building your own opportunities, some people may not understand. They may look at you and say, "Why are you doing this? Why not wait for something safer? Why take such a risk?" They may doubt you. They may question your choices. Not because they don't care, but because they are afraid too. Most people live inside the limits of fear. They want safety. They want guarantees. They believe that following the usual path is the only way. So when you choose a different path, it makes them uncomfortable. It challenges their beliefs. That is why you must learn not to depend on their approval. If you wait for everyone to agree with your dreams, you will never begin. Some people will support you. Some will not. But either way, your dream still belongs to you. Your purpose is still real. And your work is still worth doing. In the early days, you may work alone. You may create in silence. You may put in hours with no reward, no applause, and no promise. This is the test. This is where many stop. But those who keep going through this quiet season, the season where nothing is easy and no one is watching, they are the ones who see results later. They are the ones who wake up one day and realize they've built something solid. Something strong. Something valuable. And it all started in that quiet space where they didn't give up. You also need to understand that opportunity doesn't always come in the shape you expect. It may not look like a dream job. It may not come from the big company. It may not come with a title or a paycheck at first. Sometimes, it begins as service, as learning, as helping someone else, as solving a small problem in your free time, as trying something new without knowing where it will lead. Do not ignore these small beginnings. They are seeds. They grow with time. What looks small now may one day become the thing that changes your life. The project you start in your room could become a business. The conversation you have today could lead to your next big move. You never know which step will open the next door. So take them all seriously. Treat every small chance as something sacred, because it is. Creating your own opportunity also means knowing yourself. What are you good at? What do you love doing? What do people come to you for? What problems do you see again and again that you feel called to solve? These are clues. Follow them. Build from them. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be clear. When you are clear about your value, you can offer it with confidence. You can speak about it. You can show it. You can share it. And when people see that you are serious, when they see that you show up again and again, they begin to trust you. They begin to support you. And from that support, new doors begin to open. Not because you waited, but because you acted. Sometimes the reason people don't take action is because they feel small. They look at others who have already made it, and they say, I could never do that. I'm not smart enough. I'm not experienced enough. I don't know where to begin. But what they don't see is that everyone started small. Every expert was once a beginner. Every leader once felt unsure. Every creator once felt like an outsider. But they kept going. They didn't wait to feel big. They just took the next step. And then another. And slowly, they became the person they are now. You can do the same. You don't need to see the whole path. You only need to take the next step in front of you. If you do that again and again, one day you'll look back and be surprised by how far you've come. You don't need to be perfect to create your own opportunity. You just need to be present. Be consistent. Be honest. When you make a mistake, learn from it. When something doesn't work, adjust it. When you feel stuck, ask for help. You do not need to know everything. You just need to stay open and keep moving. If you do, the right people, the right moments, and the right chances will begin to connect. Not by luck, but because you made space for them. You were active. You were present. You were ready. Opportunity cannot connect with someone who is not moving. But if you are moving, if you are building, if you are giving, then you are creating energy. That energy pulls new chances into your life. You must also be willing to take responsibility. When something doesn't happen, don't blame the world. Don't wait for others to fix it. Ask yourself, what can I do now? What is one step I can take today? It may be a small step, but even small steps build momentum. One email can lead to a job. One post can lead to a connection. One meeting can lead to a project. This is how opportunity grows, not in giant leaps, but in daily actions. In showing up. In keeping your eyes open. In being ready to move when the moment arrives. And if the moment doesn't arrive, then you create it. You build your own platform. You write your own story. You build something that did not exist before you began. This is power. This is freedom. No one can take it from you, because it came from you. You didn't wait to be chosen. You chose yourself. And once you do that, your life begins to change. Not by accident, but by design. Opportunity often hides in the places where others don't want to look. It hides in hard work. It hides in long hours of practice. It hides in the small things most people ignore. The daily effort. The quiet discipline. The boring details. But if you are willing to go where others don't, you will find what others never reach. You will grow in ways they never experience. This is not about talent. It is about effort. It is about showing up when it's not exciting. About pushing forward when there is no reward yet. About building something real from the inside out. That's how opportunity finds you, not because you were lucky, but because you were consistent. You must also be careful who you listen to. Some people will tell you your ideas are too small, that they will never work, that you should be more realistic. They may not say this because they want to hurt you. Often, they say it because they are afraid themselves. because they gave up on their own ideas, because they never learned how to create something of their own. So they want you to stay small too. Don't let them decide for you. Their fear is not your future. Their limits are not your limits. You get to choose what kind of life you want. And if you want to live a life that is full of meaning, full of purpose, full of growth, then you must choose action over fear, movement over doubt, vision over safety. Every time you act, you are building your future. Every time you stay focused, you are creating space for something better. Every time you try something new, you are building skills that can open new doors. You don't need to control the whole future. You just need to take control of your part. You just need to do the work that is in front of you. Every day. Even when no one sees it. Even when the results are not clear. Even when you feel like you're not ready. That is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. The ones who succeed are not always the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who stayed, who kept going, who built their own opportunity because they didn't wait for someone to give it to them. There will always be reasons to wait. Always something that's not ready. Always something missing. But you don't need perfect conditions. You just need a starting point. You can build something from nothing if you believe in your idea enough to take action. You can create something important if you are willing to begin before everything is ready. Most great things start before the world believes in them. But they grow because someone believed enough to begin anyway. You must understand that creating your own opportunities is not about waiting for big ideas. It's about taking action on small ones. A small idea can change your life if you take it seriously. If you write it down. If you plan for it. If you begin to work on it. The problem is not the size of the idea, it's the lack of action. Most people have great ideas but never take the first step. They talk. They dream. But they don't move. And because of that, nothing changes. Action is what gives your idea life. Until you act, your idea stays in your head. It cannot grow. It cannot build. It cannot help anyone. But the moment you begin, the moment you put it into the world, it becomes real. And when something becomes real, it starts to open doors. Opportunity grows in motion. When you stay still, you stay hidden. But when you move, you start to connect with people, with ideas, with moments that can change everything. Your energy changes. Your focus sharpens. People begin to notice your consistency, your passion, your value. And suddenly, the thing that felt far away begins to feel possible. Not because the world changed, but because you changed your level of action. You showed up. You gave. You created space for opportunity to come closer. Creating your own opportunities also requires patience. Things will not always move fast. Sometimes you will put in the work and see no result for days or weeks or even months. But that does not mean nothing is happening. Just because you can't see the seed growing doesn't mean it isn't. You are building things that take time, trust, reputation, skill, clarity. These things don't show up overnight. But when they do, they change your path forever. So be patient. Stay steady. Give yourself the time to build something solid. You may need to take paths that others don't understand. You may need to work when others are resting. You may need to believe in yourself when no one else does. That is what building your own future looks like. It's not easy, but it is yours. And when the results come, when the opportunity grows, you will know it came from your hands, your heart, your effort. Not from luck. Not from chance. But from choice. From your decision to stop waiting and start building. One of the most powerful things you can do is show up when it's hard. Show up when you feel tired. Show up when you don't feel like it. Show up even when the results are slow. This kind of discipline is rare. But it is the foundation of every opportunity you will ever create. Anyone can work when it's exciting. Anyone can start when it's easy. But the people who keep going when no one is watching, when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable, those are the people who build something real. And something real cannot be ignored forever. Sooner or later, it gets noticed. It gets supported. It grows. But only because someone stayed with it long enough to see the change. Creating your own opportunity also means being flexible. Things will not always go the way you planned. You may need to change your method. You may need to try a new path. You may need to let go of an old idea to make space for a better one. This is not failure. This is learning. Every action gives you feedback. Every effort teaches you something. So don't get stuck in one way. Be willing to shift. Be willing to improve. Be willing to learn. The goal is not to be perfect, it's to keep growing. And growth only happens when you are open to change. Sometimes the best opportunities come from problems. Maybe you notice something that isn't working. Maybe you feel frustrated by the way something is done. That frustration can be a gift. It can show you what needs to change. It can guide you toward a new idea. Many people avoid problems. But people who create opportunities look for them. Because every problem is also a chance to create value. To make things better. To solve something for yourself or for others. That's how you become valuable, not by being comfortable, but by being useful. By being the person who steps in where others step back. If you want to live a life full of opportunity, you have to stop playing small. You have to stop waiting for the world to notice you. You must learn to believe in your value before the world does. To take action before anyone claps. To keep showing up before anyone thanks you. That is what leadership looks like. That is what it means to own your future. And the people who do this, the people who stop waiting and start creating, they build lives that are strong. Not just successful, but meaningful. Full of purpose. Full of growth. Full of freedom. When you create your own opportunity, you begin to see the world differently. You stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" This is an important change. Because when you focus only on getting, you wait. You wait for people to give you a job, to offer you a chance, to hand you something valuable. But when you focus on giving, you act. You look for ways to add value. You help. You solve. You build. And when you give in a real way, with honesty, effort, and consistency, people notice. They begin to trust you. They remember your name. They want to work with you, support you, learn from you. And suddenly, doors start to open. You don't need to be loud to create opportunity. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be useful. You just need to bring something good into the space you're in. Maybe it's your voice. Maybe it's your care. Maybe it's your skills. Maybe it's your ideas. You already have something that someone else needs. But they won't know unless you show them. Unless you speak. Unless you share. Unless you step forward. That's what creating your own opportunity is about. Stepping into your value, even when it feels quiet, even when it feels small. You must also understand that building your own opportunity takes time. There will be days when you feel invisible. When you feel like no one sees your work. No one responds. No one cares. But don't let those days lie to you. Your work is not wasted. Your energy is not forgotten. Something is always building. Sometimes under the surface. Sometimes in ways you don't see. And when the time is right, when the energy is ready, things will connect. But only if you are still there. Still moving. Still ready. So keep going. Keep giving. Keep building. Don't measure your progress by speed. Measure it by depth. By honesty. By effort. The people who create their own opportunities are not always the fastest. But they are the most committed. The most focused. The most prepared when their moment arrives. And that moment always comes, not by luck, but by consistency. There may be days when you question everything. Days when your efforts feel invisible. Days when the weight of doubt feels heavy. You may ask yourself, is it worth it? Will this ever work? Am I wasting my time? These thoughts are normal. Every person who builds something real faces them. But these thoughts are not your truth. They are only signs that you care. You care about your work. You care about your path. And that care makes you feel the weight of slow progress. But slow progress is still progress. It is not a sign to stop. It is a sign to keep going with care. To stay focused on the bigger picture. To keep planting seeds. Because every step forward, even when it feels small, is part of the journey that leads to something great. You are not alone in this process. Many people feel what you feel. Many people doubt. Many people fall. But the difference is in what happens next. Some stop. Some give up. Some turn away. But the ones who grow, the ones who break through, they are the ones who stand back up. They are the ones who ask better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I adjust? What is one thing I can do today to move forward? These questions open new doors. They shift your focus from what's missing to what's possible. And from that shift, new strength is born. It's also important to celebrate your small wins. Too often, people wait to celebrate until they reach the big goal. But the small wins matter. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, that's a win. Every time you learn something new, that's a win. Every time you solve a small problem, finish a task, or take another step forward, that's a win. These small wins build momentum. They give you energy. They remind you that progress is happening, even when the full result is still far away. Building your own opportunity also changes who you are. It teaches you responsibility. It teaches you patience. It teaches you resilience. These qualities are not just useful for one goal, they stay with you for life. You become stronger not just in your work, but in your mind, in your emotions, in how you carry yourself. And that strength spreads. It affects the way you speak, the way you lead, the way you inspire others. That is the deeper reward of this journey, not just the result, but the person you become along the way. Creating your own opportunities also means being ready when a door finally opens. This is why preparation matters. You may not know when your big moment will come, but you want to be ready when it does. This is why you learn, why you practice, why you keep showing up. You may not see immediate results, but every action is part of your training. Every small project, every connection, every lesson is preparing you for something more. And when that moment finally arrives, when the right person sees your work, when the right chance appears, you will not need to rush. You will already be ready. You will have the skills. You will have the experience. And you will step into that moment with confidence, not fear. Some people miss opportunity because they are not prepared. They waited instead of built. They complained instead of learned. So when the chance came, they were not strong enough to take it. But this does not need to be your story. You can choose to stay ready, to keep preparing even when nothing is clear yet. That kind of preparation is not wasted. It is the foundation for everything that comes next. You must also be careful not to compare your path to others. Everyone moves at a different speed. Everyone starts in a different place. Some people may find success early. Some may take years. But this does not mean they are better. It only means their path is different. When you compare, you lose focus. You begin to question your own progress. But your journey is your own. And if you stay with it, if you trust it, you will find your opportunity. Not by following someone else's map, but by walking your own. Sometimes, your opportunity will come from something that looks like failure. A closed door. A job you didn't get. A plan that didn't work. In the moment, these things hurt. But later, you may realize they pushed you in a better direction. They showed you something you didn't see before. They helped you grow in a way success never could. This is why you must not fear failure. You must see it as part of the path. Not the end, but a guide. A teacher. A sign that you are in motion. You are trying. You are reaching. And every time you reach, You learn something that brings you closer to the opportunity you were meant to build. As you continue to build your own path, remember this: you are not doing it just for the result. You are doing it for the experience, for the growth, for the strength you gain along the way. Results come and go. Goals change. But the person you become during the journey stays with you forever. That person, the one who kept going when it was hard, who believed when it was quiet, who stayed focused when no one was watching, that version of you is your real reward. Because that person will be ready for anything. That person will not break easily. That person will be able to lead, to help others, to face the next challenge with calm. There may be people who doubt you now. That is okay. They don't need to understand. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to live your truth, to follow your path, to use your time with purpose. Not everyone will see what you see. Not everyone will support your dream. But that dream still matters. That vision still belongs to you. And every time you act on it, even in small ways, you are proving to yourself that your future is in your hands. Creating your own opportunities is about more than success. It is about freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time. The freedom to use your voice. The freedom to turn your ideas into action. That kind of freedom does not come from waiting. It comes from building, from moving, from trusting your own process. Even when the world doesn't understand. Even when you feel like the only one. You are not the only one. Many people around the world are walking the same path. Quietly building. Quietly growing. Quietly creating something real. You are part of something powerful, a movement of people who are done waiting. People who are ready to act, to build, to live with purpose. So keep going, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when the results are slow. Every step you take is adding up. Every act of courage is creating something that cannot be taken from you. You are creating your own opportunity, and one day, that opportunity will become something you are proud to look back on. You are not here to live a small life. You are here to grow, to try, to lead, to learn, and to build. There will always be fear. There will always be doubt. But you can face them. You can rise above them. You can create your own chances instead of waiting for someone to hand them to you. That is your power. That is your right. That is your responsibility. You may not have started with everything, but you can still finish strong. You can still shape your path. You can still become the person you know you are meant to be. You do not need to wait for someone to choose you. You can choose yourself. You do not need to wait for everything to be perfect. You can begin now. You do not need to ask for permission to live with purpose. You can give yourself permission to try, to fail, to grow, and to succeed. Your story is not finished. There is more to come. And the next chapter begins when you stop waiting and start building. When you stop hiding and start showing up. When you stop hoping and start doing. You are not powerless. You are not invisible. You are capable. You are needed. And you are ready. So create. Build. Move forward. Make space for your ideas. Speak your value. Share your strength. Step into the life you've been imagining. It's possible. It's within reach. You just have to begin, and keep going. I want to thank you for listening today. I know you could be doing a lot of other things, but you chose to spend this time improving yourself, and that is something to be proud of. Thank you for trusting me with your time. I truly hope this podcast inspired you to make small, positive changes in your life. Before I say goodbye, I have one final request. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or a colleague who needs to hear these words. Sharing this podcast helps me reach more people who want to improve their lives, and it helps you spread positive ideas to others. And don't forget, there's more to come. Be sure to listen to our next episode where we'll explore even more ways to improve your life and your English skills. Together, we can keep learning and growing. So thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to having you join me next time.